Hi, I'm Jeff Gonzalez, president of Trident Concepts, and today I want to talk to you about what to do to not be a victim. Or I should say, don't look like a victim. We can all be victims, but what we want to try to do is make it a point that we don't look like a victim, potentially inviting violence or bad things to happen to us. All right, so how do we do that? Well, first of all, we need to talk about what are some common victim indicators. Now, this is going to vary for a lot of things, but one of the things that I've talked about in the past is how to help people understand what makes for a good victim, all right? And a lot of that is subconscious, things that you're not aware of, but why are they generated? What causes them to be generated in the first place? And there's two reasons, right? The quality of your surroundings, what's happening, is affecting you mentally, emotionally, and physically. And that has an adverse effect externally, which then is potentially appealing to a criminal or a predator. So, what are some of the things that we're talking about here? Well, anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or submissive is going to have an external effect that is telegraphed through your body language that a seasoned criminal or predator will be able to pick up on. So what am I talking about as far as body language is concerned? Well, believe it or not, there's this like subconscious desire, if you will, to run away. And so some of the things that could be present are, I might be facing you, but my hips might be turned towards an exit. Because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh shit, I don't like this. This is making me feel bad. I want to leave, right? So that could be my hips, it could be my knees. I could be in a seated position and I could turn my legs so that they're facing the exit. This is just, again, these subtle clues or cues that come out when the quality of our surroundings turn bad, make us feel uncomfortable or submissive. What are some other things? When we show our palms, right? Now, this can also be used to our advantage. I talk a little bit about nonviolent postures and understanding that this is a cue that typically conveys submission, right? That means that the bad guy might recognize, oh, I've got him now. So in some cases, we use this nonviolent posture as a launch point, but if you're not aware of that and you don't use it as a launch point, then it's just you showing signs of submission, right? So those are kind of like things that make you feel uncomfortable that are manifested in body language that the bad guy picks up on. One of my like big ones that I pay attention to is facial expressions and in specific eye contact. If the person is reluctant to make eye contact, a lot of times it's because they've actually moved their head away. They're trying not to make visual contact because either they feel so uncomfortable or they believe that if they don't make eye contact, if they avert their eyes, that'll give some sort of indication of submission. Again, these are things that a seasoned criminal will be able to pick up on. Now, what are some things? These are things that we want to try to avoid, and there's a whole litany of them, but they are all manifested because the quality of surroundings make you feel uncomfortable or submissive. And you need to be paying attention to how are you reacting to that? What are you doing physically, in a sense, as a reaction? But then let's talk about some of the things that seasoned criminals and predators avoid. So we don't want to look like a victim. We need to be paying attention to those subconscious clues that kind of surface. But we also need to be putting more of a concerted effort in what do I want to do to make myself less of a victim, or the victim indicators. One of the big ones is your physical characteristic, your physical demeanor, your being, right? If you're slumped over, all right, this again is not necessarily confident. It's more inviting. So we want to be more upright. We also want to make sure that we are paying attention to our surroundings. So if I walk with a purpose, if my movement is not aggressive, it's not like I'm moving aggressively, but I have purpose behind my actions, They're meaningful. That's a huge physical characteristic that's a deterrent. And you couple that with awareness, being aware of your surroundings. What's happening here? What's happening there? Knowing where I'm going, having purpose and meaning. These two are hugely valuable at helping to deselect you as a potential victim. Because if the violent criminal is looking out at the terrain, I mean, he's looking for the easy crime. He's not going to want to go up against somebody that's paying attention, that's physically ready for an assault, that has action, that can do things. He's looking for somebody that communicates. They may not be this, but communicates through their body language, weakness, unaware, and of course, being alone, right? So obviously if you're alone, you're a higher probability of being targeted. But when you add, because we're going to be alone, that's kind of like normal, by ourselves I should say. Being by ourselves is one thing, but when you add weak demeanor, unawareness, you're increasing the probability of being victimized at that point if you're being observed by a violent criminal offender. All right, he's looking, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for those indicators because that means that they have a higher chance of success at whatever they want to do. All right, so here's what we want to avoid. If we find ourselves in a situation where the quality of the surroundings makes me feel uncomfortable or submissive, I need to understand why. Why is that? Well, this guy's staring at me, or I feel like I'm in a bad situation I don't have any control over. All right, process that information so that you can figure out what to do to get out of that. Right? Be mindful of your body language. Do not communicate to potential criminals body language that would convey weakness or submissiveness. Right? Physical characteristics. Be upright. Move with a purpose. Maintain situational awareness. Look around. Don't be staring at your phone or listening, putting earbuds in. That's a huge indicator. If you're walking around with headphones, earbuds, whatever the case might be, you've just elevated yourself to a high probability of being targeted because you lack awareness. You can't hear what's going on around you. That's big, right? So when you find yourself in the public space, be mindful of all of these because it does have an adverse effect on your safety. All right, I'm Jeff Gonzalez. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to post them down below. Until then, take care and stay safe.